Hello, this is Chef John from foodwishes.com with creamy bay scallop spaghetti. That's right, after all those rich, decadent, time-consuming, and complex holiday recipes, we're in the mood for something fast, easy, and light. And as my old friend Meatloaf once said, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. So while this is very fast and easy, it's not particularly light, but it is incredibly delicious. And theoretically, you can make this creamy, sherry scallop sauce while the pasta is cooking. So let's test that theory. So I'm going to boil some thick spaghetti in salted water, which is going to take about 10 minutes. So while our spaghetti's cooking, we're going to go ahead and put a large skillet on very high heat, and we're going to get that super hot. And when you see that first tiny wisp of smoke, we're going to go ahead and dump in our bay scallops. All right, move them around with a spatula until they're in a single layer. And we're just going to let those sear on high for about 60 seconds. And then after a minute, you're going to take your spatula and give them a quick toss, and you'll see we're getting a little bit of color on some of them. All right, there's no way we're going to brown all these or try to turn them. That's not this kind of a recipe. So I just want you to give them a quick toss here, and at that point, we're going to throw in our butter. And the reason we're putting that in now and not at the beginning, that pan was so hot the butter would have got brown and nutty, which is good for some recipes, but not this one. So we're going to put that in at this point, give it a stir, and as soon as that butter melts, we're going to go ahead and add our chopped garlic. Actually, it's more like minced. And we'll give that a quick stir, maybe 30 seconds in that hot scallopy butter. Next up, a nice big pinch of freshly grated lemon zest, and also a nice pinch of red pepper flakes. Just warm it up a touch. We'll give that a quick stir, and then we're going to deglaze with some sherry. And if you don't like sherry or can't find sherry, well, quite frankly, you didn't look very hard. But you can certainly use a splash of white wine for this. And by the way, there's some very sweet sherries. They serve as dessert wines. You don't want that one. All right, if you're not sure, ask the guy at the liquor store, or even better, one of your Spanish friends. They know. But anyway, we're going to cook that sherry for about a minute. We're just taking that raw edge off, boiling off that alcohol. And then after we've cooked that sherry for about a minute, we're going to add some cold, heavy cream. And of course, that's going to come up to temperature and start to simmer. And at that point, we're going to turn everything to medium-low, and we'll simply wait for our spaghetti to be cooked, which should only be a couple more minutes. And while we're waiting, we're going to do a little more seasoning. I'm going to throw in some freshly ground black pepper and a big pinch of salt, as well as a little fresh lemon juice. Of course, that's to taste. People stop adding all the lemon juice in a recipe and telling me there's too much lemon. I mean, come on, who am I to tell you how much lemon to put in? I'm just some random stranger you met on YouTube. So use how much you like. And then, like I said, we're just going to leave that there, waiting until our pasta's cooked. And of course, when I say cook the pasta, you know I mean 1 minute less than the package directions. We want it a little undercooked when we add it to our sauce at this point, because we want it to finish cooking in that luscious scallop sherry cream sauce. So we're going to transfer our pasta in. We're going to give it a little mix. I'm going to turn the heat back up to medium-high for this last couple minutes of cooking. I'm going to switch back to the spatula so I can get a good feel for that sauce. Remember those old science fiction movies where the aliens could see through their fingers? It's kind of like that. And while we're waiting for this mixture to come back to a simmer, I'm going to go ahead and throw in half the parsley. Oh yeah, you heard me right, just half. We're going to put half in at the end. And then all we're going to do here is cook that pasta in that hot sauce for about a minute until it finishes cooking and absorbs some of those amazing flavors. And if at any point you need to thin this out a little bit, just drip a little bit of pasta water in. And that's a perfect way to adjust the texture. And conversely, if it's too thin, crank up the heat and reduce it a little more. It'll be fine. I mean, don't get drunk with power, but you are in complete control of this dish. And then for the sake of argument, let's just say at this point we all decided the pasta's perfect, the sauce is perfect. To finish, you're going to turn off the heat, and I'm going to give this a generous grating with our real imported Italian Parmesan. You want to be asking for the Reggiano, and there's a reason it's crazy expensive. Which is fine, by the way, because you only need a little bit of the real stuff. So some Parmesan, and then other than tasting and adjusting for seasoning, you're ready to serve. But don't forget, we still have half the parsley left. So let's go ahead and toss the rest in and give it one last mix before we serve. And why do we put in the parsley at 2 different points? Because you're going to get slight variations in flavor. And I'll probably talk about that on the blog, but if I don't, remind me. And as soon as that's mixed in, we're going to go ahead and serve this up. Did I use warm bowls? Of course. I'm insulted by your question. Always serve pasta in hot bowls. It's just considerate. So we're going to dish that up. We're going to spoon over some of those sweet, delicious scallops and creamy sherry sauce. And as I usually do, I decided to garnish with some extra Parmesan and a pinch of parsley and a pinch of pepper flakes. But that's up to you. You are the I-Ching of your garnishing. But no matter how you garnish this, I think you're going to agree, it is fast, it is easy, and it is incredibly delicious. That lightly garlicked, subtly lemony, slightly sweet sherry cream sauce is just perfect with the natural sweetness of the bay scallops. Just a beautiful combination. Like I said, after all those complicated, cumbersome, time-consuming holiday recipes, this is exactly what I was in the mood for. Something fast, something easy, and like I said several times, incredibly tasty. So I really do hope you give this a try. Head over to foodwishes.com for all the ingredient amounts and more info as usual. And as always, enjoy.